Take the bank card out of your wallet for a moment and read the name printed across the front. If your Social Security check or your pension lands at that same bank and you owe that bank anything at all, a car loan, a credit card, an overdraft you forgot you ever signed up for, then the money you believe is sitting safely in your account is not as safe as you think. Your own bank can reach in and take it. No court, no warning, no phone call the morning it happens. And the permission to do it is something you signed yourself a long time ago on a day you were not really reading. I am Gloria Hartwell. I managed a bank branch for 22 years, and I'm going to tell you something most people who held my old job will go to their graves without saying out loud. There is one line in your account agreement that lets the bank pay itself out of your money the moment you fall behind on a debt you owe it. We called it the right of offset. And here is what you have to understand before we go 1 inch further. You have probably always believed the money in your account is yours, plain and untouchable, until the day you decide to move it. Against a stranger, that is true. Against your own bank, it has never once been true. By the end of this, you are going to know the single change that puts your Social Security completely out of that bank's reach, and it costs you nothing and takes about a week. But first, I have to show you where the law draws the line, because most of the people this happens to are standing on the wrong side of it entirely by accident. And in a minute, I'm going to have you check your own agreement right where you sit. Almost everyone pictures the bank as a kind of vault, and that picture is the belief that holds the door open. You hand them your money, they keep it safe, and the only one who decides when a dollar moves is you. Against an outsider, that holds up. A scammer has to trick the money out of your hands. A company you owe has to go to a judge, win, and serve a court order before it can touch a single dollar. But your own bank is not standing outside the vault. It is standing inside it with you, and the day you opened the account, you handed it a key. Think of giving a neighbor a key to your house so he can feed the cat while you travel. For years, that key just sits in his drawer, and you never think about it. It matters on the one day there is an argument between you, and you remember he can let himself in any time he likes because you handed him the key and forgot you ever did. That is the right of offset. Some agreements call it the right of set-off or a security interest in your deposits. Same key. It means the people holding your money are very often also a creditor you owe. And somewhere in that contract, they wrote themselves permission to settle the second thing using the first. Let me take you to the part of the branch you never got to see. When a customer fell far enough behind, a past due loan, an overdraft climbing week after week, a report landed on the manager's desk first thing in the morning. One of the options sitting right there on it, the one we almost never said out loud to the customer, was offset. We could move that customer's own money out of their checking or savings with us to cover what they owed us before the lobby doors opened. One hand to the other. No judge needed because the law does not see a stranger seizing your money. It sees a bank collecting on a contract you signed with collateral you agreed to hand over, which happened to be your own deposit. That clause runs back centuries in the common law, and a version of it sits in very nearly every account agreement in this country. It is not a scam. That is exactly what makes it so easy to miss. So before I take you through the 4 ways this lands on real people, do the first check right now while you are sitting there. You will not need to call anyone. Pull up your bank's account agreement. It is on their website under a tab that says Account Agreement or Terms and Conditions. If you cannot find it, the paper copy is in that folder of bank mail you have been meaning to clean out for 2 years. Now search it. Hold the Control key and tap the letter F on a computer, or use Find in the app and type one word, Set-off. If nothing comes up, try Offset, then Security Interest. I promise you it is in there. And the moment you see it, in the bank's own words, on the bank's own letterhead, you will know this was never something I invented to frighten you. It has been in your drawer the whole time. There are 4 ways the right of offset reaches an ordinary person, and they are not the same. One of them, I promise you, is going to surprise you in the best possible way. The first is the one that emptied an account belonging to a woman named Carol, 68, in Toledo, banked at the same branch for 31 years. Now hear me, because the setup that hurt her is the most ordinary setup in America. Having a loan and your checking at the same bank is not a mistake. Tens of millions of careful people do exactly that, and for almost every one of them, nothing ever comes of it. It is convenient. It feels like loyalty, and most of the time it is treated like loyalty. Carol had taken a small signature loan years back, a few $1,000s to fix a leaking roof, and she fell 2 payments behind during a hard winter when her furnace died the same month. Here is where the ordinary turns dangerous. Her Social Security landed in her checking at that bank on a Wednesday. By Thursday morning it was gone, $4.11 on the screen. The bank had applied her whole benefit deposit straight to the loan she owed it, overnight, in a batch she never saw coming. Picture a stream that feeds a single pond on your land. As long as the water sits there, fine. But if the man who owns the field downhill has a claim against you, he does not knock. He opens the gate at the bottom of the pond and lets it run down to him while you sleep. The protection is not a clever phrase at the counter. It is a setup, and Carol's only mistake, an honest one, was keeping the account her benefits flow into at the very same bank where she carried the debt. Hold on to that, because the fix is far simpler than you would guess. The second way is the quiet one almost nobody connects, and it reaches you through a service you probably signed up for because it sounded like a kindness: overdraft protection. You linked your savings to your checking so that if a payment came in short, the bank would cover it from savings instead of bouncing it at the grocery store in front of a line of people. And honestly, sometimes that is just what it does, and you are grateful for it. There is nothing wrong with the service itself. What nobody at the desk mentioned is that the same little link is also a standing permission slip. It does not only move your savings to cover the payment, it moves your savings to cover the overdraft fees the bank charges you for having bounced. A forgotten yearly subscription overdraws your checking by $11. The bank adds a $35 fee. Then it reaches into the emergency savings you protected for years and pays itself back for both. Think of a sump pump you wired into the wrong tank. You put it in to protect the house, and the day the basement floods, you find it has been quietly draining your water heater the whole time. The protection is to know which of your accounts are chained to which, and to keep your real emergency money and your benefits in an account that is not wired to the one that can overdraw. Hold that picture of the chained accounts, because the next situation is the one I want you to feel good about. The third way is the surprise. The one I want you to feel relieved about, because most people carry the opposite fear their whole lives. The credit card. So many people I talk to are quietly terrified that if they fall behind on a credit card from their own bank, the bank will reach in and empty their checking to cover it, the way it could with a loan. Here is the truth, and for once it lands entirely on your side. Federal law, the Truth in Lending Act, forbids a card issuer from automatically reaching into your deposit account to pay off a past due credit card balance at that same bank. They cannot just take it. Of all the doors in this house, this is the one Congress walked over and bolted shut for you decades ago while you were not even looking. You were right to feel something about it was unfair, and now you can set that fear down for good, because the lock has been on the whole time. So if a bank employee ever tells you they are going to offset your checking to cover your card, that is your moment. You stay calm and you say plainly, that is not permitted under the Truth in Lending Act, and I would like that in writing. Most people guard against this one fear for 30 years and never learn the law already closed the door. You will not be one of them. But the fourth way is the one that catches whole families off guard, and it is the one I have watched hurt the most decent people. The fourth way is the joint account, and it catches families precisely because it grows out of love, not carelessness. You add your name to an adult child's account to help them through a hard stretch, or you add your daughter to yours so she can manage things if your health turns. This is how families have always helped each other. Nobody should make you feel foolish for it. But the agreement does not see love. It sees signatures. If your name sits on an account with anyone who owes that same bank, the bank can often reach the whole account to cover that person's debt, your share right along with it, because every one of you signed the same contract. I once watched a woman in her 70s lose a month of grocery money because she had co-signed an account to help a son rebuild his credit, and his line of credit at that same bank went sour. Her income and his debt sat under one roof on one signature page. Think of agreeing to share one big bucket of water with someone, then learning the hard way that anyone allowed to dip into the bucket is also someone whose creditors can dip into it. The protection here is harder, but it is clean. Do not keep your benefit money in a joint account with anyone who carries debt at that institution. Help your family any other way you like. A separate gift, a separate account. Just never pour your protected income into the same bucket as somebody else's exposure. Now that you have seen all four, do one more thing before I give you the move. And this is the one to finish tonight, because it turns everything you just heard into a single answer you can hold in your hand. Get an index card or the back of an envelope. Write two things and only two. First, the name of the bank or credit union where your Social Security or your pension lands. Second, a plain yes or no to one question. Do you owe that same place anything at all? A loan, a card, a line of credit, an overdraft link? Yes or no. That little card is your whole exposure in 2 lines. If the answer is no, you owe them nothing. Then breathe, because the door we have been talking about has nothing on the other side of it for you. If the answer is yes, you are standing where Carol stood on the Wednesday before her Thursday, not in danger this minute, but in the doorway. Tape that card inside a cupboard you open every morning, because the move I am about to hand you is how you walk out of that doorway for good. I have written every piece of this onto a single page for you. The 4 situations, the one move that ends all of them, and the exact words to say if your benefits are ever taken. It is free. The link is in the description right under this video, and I made it because I watched too many good people learn all this the hard way, weeks after the money was already gone. If you would rather have the move sitting in your own hands long before you ever need it, grab it now, then come right back, because the next 90 seconds are the part that protects you. You might feel something rising up while you listen, a slow kind of anger, and I want to be careful where you point it. So why does the bank you stayed loyal to for 40 years build the one account that can turn on you? It is not because anyone in that branch is a villain. The teller who keyed Carol's offset was following a screen and a policy. The manager was hitting a collections number on a Monday report. Nobody in that building woke up wanting to take an old woman's Social Security. And that is the real problem, and it is bigger than any one bank. The whole system is built so the most protected money you have, the income the government deliberately shields from your outside creditors, ends up sitting in the exact same place as your debts, under the exact same signature, where the one creditor who needs no court order can reach across and take it. Nobody at the account opening desk is trained to say, "You bank here and you borrow here, so you ought to keep your Social Security somewhere else." There is no line on anybody's report for protecting you from the bank itself. So I am not going to call your bank a crook because it is not one, and anybody screaming that word at you is usually selling something. I am going to give you something more useful than outrage. The danger was never the institution, it was the setup. And the setup is the one thing in all of this you control completely. So here is the move, the single change that takes all four of those situations off the table at once. Keep the account that receives your Social Security or any federal benefit at a bank or a credit union where you owe nothing at all. No loan, no credit card, no line of credit, no overdraft link, not $1 of debt to that institution. Because the right of offset only works when the same bank both holds your money and is a creditor you owe. Break that overlap, and there is nothing left for them to reach for. Your benefits land in a place with no claim on them whatsoever, and it costs you nothing. A second small checking account at a credit union down the road, where the only thing connecting you to them is the deposit itself. That is the entire move. It is not a phrase you have to say, and it is not a lawsuit you have to win. It is a setup, and you can finish it this week. And there is a second layer the government already built for you, in case the worst has already happened. A federal rule, 31 CFR 212, protects federal benefit payments after they land in your account. When a bank gets a garnishment order, it has to look back 2 months and shield the Social Security and other federal benefits that arrived in that window. The rules around a bank using its own right of offset are murkier, and they vary by state and by your situation, which is exactly why I am handing you the setup instead of telling you to lean on the fine print. But if money does get taken, you are not powerless, and you do not whisper. You call the bank and say, as close to these words as you can, the funds you took are exempt federal benefit payments protected under federal law, and I am requesting that they be released immediately. You put it in writing afterward, so there is a record, and if they will not move, you take it over their heads, for free, to help with mybank.gov, run by the federal banking regulator, not by the bank. Now, I do not want you walking away frightened, so let me tell you exactly how worried to be, because it is not the same for everyone. If your benefits already land at a place where you owe nothing, the quiet claw has no door to come through, and you can let this go tonight and sleep fine. If you owe that same bank a little, on something current you are paying on time, that is worth tidying up this month, calmly, not in a panic. But if your Social Security or your pension lands in the very same bank where you are behind, today, right now, on a loan or a card, this is not a someday problem. That is a this week problem. The difference between handling it this week and handling it someday is the whole difference between your money and theirs. Carol's story did not end on that Thursday. After she untangled the worst of it, and it took the better part of a month of phone calls she should never have had to make, she did the one thing I just handed you. She walked into a small credit union 3 miles from her house, the kind that still keeps a coffee pot going in the lobby and learns your name, and she moved her Social Security over to a place she owed absolutely nothing. A year later, when a different bill slipped a month past due, she opened her banking app out of pure old habit, with that cold fear still sitting in her stomach, and the money was right where it belonged, untouched. There was no longer any door for the quiet claw to come through. The clause is real, it is legal, and now it is not a thing you find out the hard way on a Thursday morning, staring at $4 on a screen. It is a setup you control, finished in an afternoon. Let me leave you with the one piece even careful people miss. The overlap that exposes you is not always a loan you took on purpose. Sometimes it is an old overdraft line you opted into a decade ago and forgot all about, still quietly making your own bank a creditor you owe. Check for that one too. If you are the kind of person who reads the agreement instead of signing where the pen points, you already know what to do with what you just heard. Picture the next time you sit down across the desk from a banker opening a new account. You will hear the friendly questions, and underneath them, the one question that desk will never ask you, and this time you will go ahead and ask it yourself. The card stays taped to the cupboard, the benefit money stays where you owe nothing, and the app, the next time you open it out of habit, just shows you what is yours. There is one more clock running quietly inside your accounts, and this one is not about debt. It is about fraud. It is a hidden countdown that decides whether the bank or you eats the loss when a charge you never made slips through, and it does not start the day you notice it. It starts the day they mail your statement. That is the next thing we take apart together. Until then, keep your benefits where you owe nothing, and keep reading the agreement. You are exactly the kind of customer they never expected to read this far.